Well, the mother of a cladding campaigner who died earlier this year has spoken of her loss and her sense of duty to carry on her daughter's work.
Yes, Amanda Walker lived in a flat which needed fire safety improvements, but due to a loophole in the law, she wasn't eligible for financial help.
Well, her family says the stress and anxiety this caused contributed to her death. Our reporter Phil Henry went to speak to her mum, Glenda.
Amanda Walker's family say they'll miss her deeply this Christmas. Little could they have known when she bought this one-bedroom flat in South London in 2018, the stress and anxiety it would cause would lead to her death.
It's devastating. It's just a quagmire now. It's just chaos.
Amanda's flat had been built with flammable cladding. She became a campaigner.
It's so unjust. I've done nothing wrong, and it's destroyed my life already.
Amanda was very eloquent, and she wrote beautifully. She was the sort of girl who always got A's in English and things like that. And she wrote so many letters, as did I. And we always got the statutory response that it wasn't just not helpful, but they didn't know, I think. I'm sort of saying, but do you not realise there are loopholes? Do you not realise there are still over 1 million people in this situation? And they would then write me sort of rather platitudinous letters. I think Amanda used to say that we were both a bit too polite sometimes,
Eventually, the government did fund cladding removal. There was new legislation, but legal loopholes meant Amanda still faced huge costs.
All the amendments that would have protected us, one by one, they all got kicked out. And when we became non-qualifying, it's like there's just this black chasm ahead.
She did start to drink. There's no question. I'm not ashamed for her for that, because it was her way of, as she used the term, seeking oblivion.
Her family sought help. Amanda spent time in hospital. Psychiatrists were clear. Cladding issues the cause of her anxiety, and she was given antidepressants.
I don't think that did her any good. I think she was over-medicated. I think her head was all over the place. And she wasn't. She kept saying, I am not depressed, I'm angry. And it was almost within the family a joke. Could Amanda go for 5 minutes without saying the word cladding? It was just always there. And I think it had taken over her life, really. The day before she died, we were travelling up to London. It was raining and the weather was awful. And I was trying to phone the hospital and say, she's it's getting serious. We desperately hoped she had actually relaxed and had a good night's sleep,
Had it been a concern to you that this might be the outcome at some point in the months leading up to it? Had you considered the possibility that she might take
She had talked about it. Amanda had talked about it.
A recent inquest recorded a verdict of death by misadventure. Can you understand the despair, the helplessness?
I've seen it so often. I'm different from Anne. She felt despair. She was dramatic. She felt anxiety. She wanted to know. She wanted justice. I think she just lost faith in the government completely.
The new Labour government says it will explore all options to end what it calls the nightmare of living in unsafe buildings. Despite having its exterior cladding replaced, Amanda's flat still has interior fire safety defects. Her parents are trying to sell, but they or any buyer remain financially liable for these unless the law changes.
We go through grief and everything else, and I think perhaps now the anger's getting in there a bit.
So with Amanda no longer here to speak out, her mother says she's reluctantly telling her story.
I, for her sake, would love to think that she had caused some small change, perhaps.
Phil Henry with that report.